the major issue with the Nigerian economy is relatively low level of capital investment. How can we ensure that the right policies and systems are in place to attract more capital investments in Nigeria?
I think capital investments really are twofold. There's international, which are foreign direct investments, which requires us to have a rule of law is critical framework that guarantees people's monies can be invested and divested. Because people need to know that not that the freedom of investment is matched by freedom for them to take their money out should they want their money out. And I think internally it's about getting ourselves organized. There's a tremendous amount of savings which we all contribute one way or the other. And we do need to have structured programs to ensure that those savings are not going into a general pool. They're focused on building infrastructure. For example, what stops us from saying we want to do a 6-lane road Lagos to Kano? It's going to cost X, Y, Z. Everybody buy a freedom bond. Bond contribute 5,000 naira to this. There are many ways of mobilizing savings in a way and manner that they're project specific, and we can encourage a lot of these things towards infrastructure.
So would you think that the private sector should be a little bit more involved to actually protect it?
I think if you look at Nigeria's development over the last 20 to 30 years, the biggest steps forward we've taken have been by the private sector. So if you look at the telecoms revolution, where we have 100 million lines, it's entirely faced. If you look at the gas revolution in terms of distributing gas across the country as an alternative fuel, it's private sector driven. There's so many. If you look at the IT world in Nigeria, it's all private sector driven. And if you look at today, post privatization, majority of the industries today that are functioning today are those that have been transferred from the public sector to the private sector and have attracted a lot of investment, and that's why they function. And I think the most recent one is our electricity, the power generation and distribution. And I think we should see very, very big steps forward now that they now have the access to private sector funding, as opposed to when they were in the government hands and only had access to a limited amount of government funding, which is finite. It's not exponential. The government has a limited amount of money and can't do all the miracles we want without ensuring that the private sector is part and parcel of the development of the nation.